No one aboard the Valkyrie patrol vessel had ever heard a voice so calm threaten so much violence in so few syllables. The day began with routine monotony. Starwatch Officer Krell found himself nursing a mug of steaming lact, scanning the comms for anything that might break the unrelenting boredom of quadrant patrols. The Valkyrie border had been quiet for cycles. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that made junior officers swap ghost stories and veterans simply tighten their grips on their consoles. The only blip on the scanners was a vessel coasting at subluminal speed, all registration beacons silent, hull cold, running so dark that it almost blended with the cosmic background. In the Valkyrie command code book, that meant one thing: a probable smuggler, or at least a curiosity worth investigating. Krell summoned his ship's captain, Commander Juro, a thick-set, battle-scarred veteran with a fondness for rules and an allergy to surprises. Within minutes, the bridge was alive with low murmurs and the faint hum of weapon capacitors charging. Not out of paranoia, but out of habit. By the time the captain gave the order, every officer was at his station, posture stiff, fingers hovering over controls as the air itself might turn hostile. "Bring the unidentified ship onto main visual," Juro barked, voice gravelly from years breathing recirculated air. The projection flickered, revealing a vessel of unusual design, brutish angles, a battered hull with faded glyphs none of them could read, and a navigation array that looked practically ancient. No energy signatures, no comm traffic. It might as well have been a ghost. "Standard hail protocol," the captain said, nodding to Krell. Krell leaned into his console, adjusted his translator, and opened the broadcast. "Unidentified vessel, you are within Valkyrie space. State your designation, origin, and purpose. Failure to comply will result in boarding and detainment." The bridge waited, static answered. Krell cycled frequencies. "Unidentified vessel, respond, or we will consider you hostile." Nothing. Only the soft hiss of cosmic radiation. Juro frowned, tusks grinding together. "Send the override code. Let's see if it's just a busted relay or if someone's playing games." Krell tapped the sequence. A pulse of Valkyrie command code radiated out. The alien vessel's lights flickered, systems stirred, and a split second later, every screen on the Valkyrie bridge flashed a cold blue. A new voice, a voice they'd never heard, unmistakably human, carrying none of the trembling deference the Valkyrie expected from trespassers, spoke with all the casual menace of a man who'd just been woken from a nap and was only mildly annoyed about it. "Valkyrie Patrol, this is Earth Command. Identify yourselves." Silence fell like a dropped weight. Every officer looked at Juro, then back at their screens. Krell blinked, fingers frozen above his console. He'd studied hundreds of languages, protocols, and threat responses, but nowhere in any manual did it say what to do if the ship you tried to board turned out to be in contact with a planet nobody had ever heard from in galactic records. A planet whose last known civilization was classified as pre-warp, volatile, and best avoided. Juro recovered first. He gestured for the comm to remain open but muted his own mic. "Earth Command? That's a joke, right?" "No, sir," Krell whispered, not trusting his own voice. "That's a human dialect. Old Sol code. Audio matches all records for Terran broadcasts, but, sir, Earth has been dark for centuries." "Unmute. I want to hear what this Earth Command thinks it's doing out here," Juro growled. The voice repeated, firmer now. "Valkyrie Patrol, you are in proximity to classified Terran property. State your intent." The captain straightened. "This is Commander Juro of the Valkyrie Border Fleet. You are in violation of Valkyrie territorial integrity. Identify yourself and explain your presence, or your vessel will be boarded." A pause. Then came a laugh, low and rough, that did not belong in any training sim or threat analysis file. "Commander Juro, you have 30 seconds to change your heading and leave this vessel alone. That's not a request." It wasn't just the words, it was the tone, flat and bored, like someone who'd said it too many times before. Krell felt his scales prickle. The other officers shifted, some glancing at the captain for permission to ready weapons, others glancing at the airlock diagrams as if expecting a Terran squad to materialize from thin air. Juro set his jaw. "Target their engines with ion disruptors. Let's see if Earth Command has anything to say about that." The crew complied, but before the weapons could even lock, every system aboard the Vicari vessel flickered. Comms erupted with a code so dense and strange, it crashed 3 consoles before the diagnostics could finish. The external cameras caught a new emission, a pulse of tight beam data that, according to the logs, should have been impossible for such an old ship to generate. But the proof was there on every screen. The Vicari patrol had lost control. Krell swallowed. Sir, they've locked us out of our own systems. The captain stared, speechless for the first time in his career. The bridge was silent, save for the soft, implacable voice that returned, calm as ever. This is Earth Command. Last warning. Change your heading now. Juro's claws tapped the armrest, slow and steady, but the bridge air had shifted from irritation to an uneasy tension. Across the consoles, officers stared at flickering screens, watching their ship's status reports become unreadable strings of alien code. None had seen a hack like this, not from any known rival empire, not from smugglers, not from the most notorious information mercenaries, and certainly not from a vessel that looked as if it had been welded together from the scrap of 3 wars ago. Krell didn't dare move. His panel now showed a schematic of their own ship, overlaid with strange green highlights. An unfamiliar protocol spun in the bottom left corner, cycling through sequences as if cataloging every system the Vicari had. He considered speaking, but the words stuck. The manual was useless now, left behind by the sharp chill of something that felt more than technical. The captain's voice cut through it. Krell, try to isolate whatever port they're using. Get me back on comms, locked channel, full encryption. I want to speak to this Earth Command directly, without giving them another chance to paralyze my ship. Krell nodded, hands flying over his console. His training was as good as anyone's. Better, maybe. He'd seen viruses, malware, even old Carthian psychic scrambles that could fry a system in microseconds. But nothing responded. Their ship didn't even try to fight back. It just let the Terran code in, reshaping everything, calmly rooting itself in places Krell hadn't even known existed. One of the junior officers muttered, "They're in our environmental controls." Another added, "And sensors. Navigation's being recalibrated." Juro glared, refusing to let his frustration show. If Earth Command can hear this, understand. You are interfering with a Vicari military vessel. We will respond with force if necessary. Static answered, then a crackle. The same voice, human, dry, so calm it might have been bored, returned. We are aware, Vicari vessel. You have no force that matters here. Juro's lips curled. You're bluffing. That ship is centuries out of date. You shouldn't even be able to broadcast, let alone hack Vicari systems. A soft sigh from the other end. If we wanted you gone, you would already be gone. I suggest you heed the warning. Krell's stomach twisted. The last thing he wanted to see came next. His screen blipped, then showed external visuals from their own hull, without any command input. The Terran vessel was now highlighted by a ring, its silhouette mapped and pulsing. Lines of data scrolled beside it, displaying unknown energy readings. Something inside that battered hull was alive in a way technology shouldn't be. Juro tried again, voice louder. We're not leaving until you identify your ship, your mission, and your commander. A pause. The bridge lights flickered, then stabilized. The voice replied, You want identification? You'll get it. You're now broadcasting on all Vicari fleet channels. Krell's eyes widened. A soft chime rang out as every frequency indicator lit up red, open channel, system-wide. The Vicari ship was now a loudspeaker for whatever Earth Command wanted to say. Attention Vicari Border Command, the voice said, now piped into every ship, every listening post, every outpost in the sector. This is Earth Command, relaying from Terran's Strategic Recon Unit Aegis. Your vessel has attempted unauthorized access to classified Terran property. Leave the vicinity immediately. Any further action will be interpreted as a hostile act and met with appropriate consequences. Juro's jaw tightened. They're making a joke of us. Get Fleet Command on the line now. Krell tried. The moment he tapped the sequence, his console dimmed, then displayed a new message. Connection denied. A single Earth glyph glowed beneath the message, a sphere crisscrossed by simple blue lines. unmistakable even for those who had only seen Terran symbols in textbooks. One of the bridge officers blurted out, "Sir, we're locked out of fleet net. All external comms are rerouted." Juro's anger slipped into something colder. They're cutting us off. They're making us watch ourselves fail. Krell swallowed. The captain never lost control, but this was no ordinary enemy. He scanned the sensor log again, trying desperately to find any sign of weapons, drones, even escape pods. Nothing. The Terran ship simply hovered, quiet and implacable, its battered hull now glowing with internal power. Energy readings that had no business coming from anything that old. The human voice spoke one last time before the channel closed. "This is your final warning, Vakari vessel. Stand down. Leave. Do not approach this ship again." The comm snapped off. The bridge sat in silence, save for the soft beeping of systems now slowly returning to Vakari control, but never fully, as if the Terran presence was still there, watching, ready to step in again at any provocation. A cold dread settled into the crew as the bridge remained heavy with the echo of the last Terran transmission. Even the lowest-ranking officers knew what this meant. This was no typical smuggler or pirate playing games with Vakari patrols. Commander Juro's eyes flicked between his officers and the ghostly Terran ship, refusing to admit what every instinct screamed. They were not in control. Not anymore, Devon. Krell worked in silence, digging into system logs, trying to trace the entry points, to understand what the Terran code had done. The answer was as terrifying as it was simple. The Terran program had swept through every system, bypassing firewalls as if they weren't there, rewriting protocols, then vanishing, leaving only a silent back door, waiting perhaps for a signal. One of the sensor officers hissed through his teeth. "Sir, the Terran ship, energy signature spiking, some kind of power-up sequence." "Are they charging weapons?" Euro demanded. "No, at least not in any configuration we know. The readings are different." The main viewer displayed the battered Terran hull in sharp relief against the blackness. Small patches of the hull glowed faint blue, pulsing in a rhythm that did not match any known reactor cycle. Strange, flickering after-images danced across the display, as if the ship were phasing in and out of normal space. Krell magnified the image, and everyone saw it at once. New patterns, almost like scars, rippling across the vessel's surface. Symbols unlike any language the Vakari had seen. "What is that?" someone whispered. "Terran markings, but changed," Krell said, voice shaky, like the ship's rewriting itself, right in front of us. The captain's hand hovered over the comm panel. For a moment he considered ordering a retreat. The idea burned at his pride, but prudence warred with ego. Still, he was Vakari. He would not be bullied by legends or ghosts. "Bring targeting back online," Juro ordered. "If their ship's waking up, I want our best shot ready." Weapons control flickered green. Ion disruptors, plasma lances, torpedoes. Systems came back hesitantly, as if even the ship itself feared provoking the Terran vessel. "Lock on their reactor. Do not fire. Hold for my signal." Across the bridge, officers tensed. In their earpieces, the Fleet Command override channel finally burst alive, a high-priority call from Rear Admiral Tovor himself. Juro signaled Krell to open the line. "Commander Juro, report," barked the Admiral's voice, harsh and formal. Juro relayed everything, omitting nothing. The intrusion, the broadcasts, the impossible hack. Tovor listened in grim silence. "Maintain distance," he ordered. "Reinforcements are inbound. Do not engage the Terran vessel. Repeat, do not engage. This situation is now under high directive. Surveillance only." Juro's jaw clenched. "Sir, their technology is—" "I said surveillance only. If you provoke them, you may start a war neither side can afford. Record everything. Do not respond unless fired upon." The line cut. Krell slumped in his seat, relief and terror mingling. The bridge lights glowed slightly brighter as full system control crept back. Though there were new, silent ghosts in the code, evidence of Terran fingers still somewhere in the machine. The Terran vessel drifted, silent and still, yet impossibly threatening. No weapons powered, no overt action, just the patient certainty of something that knew it could end them at will. Krell watched the data feeds. Environmental signatures aboard the Terran ship were all over the place. Too many heat spikes, erratic oxygen levels, magnetic surges that suggested activity far beyond any crew running standard operations. "Sir, should we hail them again?" Krell asked quietly. Juro shook his head. "No, the next word from us might be taken as a challenge. We follow orders." Outside, a new light split the darkness. A jump signature, Vakari reinforcements decelerating into real space. Heavy cruisers, a destroyer, even a command carrier. An overwhelming force for a single rogue vessel. On every Vakari channel, tense voices coordinated formations, yet no one approached the Terran ship, which floated undisturbed. Instead, every scanner focused, every weapon trained but silent, as the standoff stretched. "Do you think they're waiting for us to make the first mistake?" one officer murmured. Krell didn't answer. He just watched as the Terran vessel pulsed again, symbols glowing, hull humming with energy that no Vakari science could explain. Juro stood at the center of the bridge, jaw set, refusing to show fear. Yet every man there could sense it. Whatever happened next, the rules of the border had changed, and the ghosts of Earth were now writing new ones. Tension on the bridge was a living thing, tight, electric, stifling as the Vakari fleet surrounded the battered Terran ship. The Admiral's orders had been clear. Do not engage, record everything, wait. Yet hours dragged by, each minute feeding an invisible pressure that settled in every officer's spine. Juro paced, eyes flicking to status monitors, knuckles white where his hand gripped the rail. The Terran vessel sat silent and inscrutable, its hull still pulsing with those strange blue patterns, unreadable and uncanny. One by one, the reinforcements completed their maneuvers. Battleships bristling with weaponry settled into a siege formation, encircling the Terran ship with overlapping fields of fire. Still, the alien vessel neither fled nor raised shields, simply drifting as if unconcerned, perfectly still in the grip of a force none aboard the Vakari ships could name. Suddenly, Krell's console flashed. A new signal, narrowband, encrypted, an invitation from the Terran ship to communicate directly. No demands, no threats, just a single line of text in flawless Vakari, requesting dialogue. Juro hesitated, torn between protocol and curiosity. Finally, he nodded at Krell. "Open the channel. I'll take this." The line opened, and that same cool human voice echoed through the bridge. "Commander Juro, Earth Command. You have questions. We are ready to answer." Juro straightened, voice controlled. "Identify yourself, your vessel, your mission, your right to disrupt Vakari systems." A pause, then the reply. "This vessel is the Aegis. Once it was the flagship of Terran spacefaring defense. Its mission is the same as it has always been, to patrol, to observe, to deter. Earth Command exists to protect Terran interests, wherever they may be threatened." Krell watched his captain, wondering how he would respond to this ghost from the past. Juro kept his tone neutral. "Earth Command has been dark for centuries. No signal, no evidence of activity, no living human ships in the records. How did you survive?" The voice came back, softer now, almost reflective. "You believe history as you record it, but history is written by those who remain visible. Earth Command never left. We watched, we learned, we adapted. We chose not to interfere until you attempted to seize what you did not understand." Across the fleet, more officers tuned in, listening to the exchange in stunned silence. The Terran ship's energy signature swelled, hull glowing brighter, until the battered form shimmered with a light that forced every camera to auto-dim. Juro pressed, "What is it that we do not understand?" "You see only weakness in our age, in our scars, in our silence," Earth Command replied. "You did not ask why a ship like this can control your systems. You did not ask what price is paid to keep the stars quiet. Some weapons do not rust. Some warnings are built to endure. Leave this place, Commander, and remember, there are things in the dark older than your oldest fears." Juro considered, pride and duty warring in his chest. "The Vakari cannot simply turn away because you tell us to." "No," the voice agreed, "but you will. If you stay, we will not fire, nor will we flee. But the next move is yours, and every ship in your fleet will learn why this vessel is feared across centuries." Krell's hands trembled as new readings flickered in. Every Valkyrie system, every channel, every hull sensor began to report phantom readings, blinding spikes of energy, weapon signatures that made no sense, data so strange it seemed almost hallucinatory. One by one, ships began to lock up, weapon safeties disengaging, navigation spooling random jump coordinates. It was as if the Aegis had become the core of a gravitational storm, rewriting the rules of space around it. On the bridge, Juro understood. This was not merely a bluff. He stared at the ancient ship, battered but unbroken, and saw something he had never seen in any enemy. A patience so complete it bordered on omnipotence. He opened the channel one last time. What would happen if we attacked? The answer came, flat and final. You would not survive. Neither would we. But history would remember you as the fleet that woke what should have been left alone. Juro nodded once, slow, heavy. He had not risen through the ranks by bravado or stubbornness. He understood when the smart choice was to retreat. To live and learn, he turned to Krell. Signal the fleet, full withdrawal, mark this sector as off-limits to all patrols. Log every record for high command. The order spread across the armada, relief mixing with humiliation. One by one, the Valkyrie ships powered down weapons, set course for safe jump lanes, and began to withdraw. Only the patrol ship remained for a moment longer, Krell watching the Terran vessel as the blue glow faded back to a dull shimmer. As the last Valkyrie ship jumped away, the Aegis sent one final message. We thank you for your caution. The stars are wide, Commander Juro. Travel well. And remember, Earth is never as far as you think. Krell sat back, letting out a breath he'd been holding for hours. The sensors showed the Aegis slipping into shadow, power readings dropping until it was just another piece of debris to untrained eyes. But those who'd been there would never forget the lesson. A battered ship, a forgotten flag, and a warning as old as the void.